Hi there guys, I hope you're all okay. I thought today we could just have a little chat about stress and burnout and what we can do to try and avoid getting to that frame of mind, which I think is really important given everything going on in the world at the moment. I don't know about you, but I think a lot of people during lockdown felt like they, had to do something productive and had to get something out of it, like learn a new language or find a new hobby or lose loads of weight. There's this strange pressure from society that we're supposed to be productive all the time, and that taking breaks is something that we should feel guilty about and shouldn't do. And I think a lot of that comes from, we also compare ourselves to other people, don't we? Sort of, be that friends and family, be that on social media. We see these people getting promotions or doing really well, and we feel like, well, why can't I be like that? And we try and work our hardest to get to that place too. So a lot of this pressure can lead to stress, and then eventually leads to us feeling burnt out. So that's why I think it's really important that we talk about these things. So that's what we're going to be doing today, whilst I have my cup of tea. So what actually is stress? So stress is how our minds and our bodies respond to pressure from sort of other situations or events or things happening in our lives. So these can be things like if you're starting a new job, if you're going back to school, to university, going through exams, or prime example, living during a global pandemic. That in itself is very stressful. And when we undergo this stress for an extended period of time or for a long period of time, that's when it can lead to burnout. So burnout is when we feel physically and mentally exhausted. And that doesn't just have to include from work, that can be from other maybe responsibilities you have in your day-to-day life, like looking after kids if you're a carer, that sort of thing. And some signs of burnout include things like low mood, anxiety, feeling angry and irritable, feelings of dread around maybe going to work or doing those responsibilities, and just feeling like you can't do those tasks to the best of your ability because you're so physically and emotionally and mentally exhausted. And a lot of the time people can get to this point of being burnt out before they then put steps in place to look after their own emotional well-being. So hopefully next we're going to share some helpful tips on how to take better care of ourselves so that we avoid getting to that place. So stress, I think we've all got things that can trigger stress responses in us or make us feel stressed. And I like to think that we all have different levels of tolerance as well of what we can tolerate when it comes to our stress levels, and that will also vary depending on how you feel on any given day. So I like to think of it as like a battery, so that's an analogy I like to use. Like your phone, when that battery is fully charged, we can do things to the best of our abilities, but over time that battery will lose charge, and if it's anything like my phone, when it's getting down to that 20%, 10%, that's when things work a bit slower. Some of the apps will start to crash, and it's the same sort of thing for us. So when our battery has been depleted and we're running low on energy, and when we're getting to that burnt out stage, our ability to do things has been less as well. And because that battery is not as full as it normally would be, then the things that maybe we wouldn't normally find stressful can now trigger us and maybe make us feel irritable or snappy, make us cry, make us feel overwhelmed, because, like I say, we haven't got the ability to tolerate that. So that's why it's really important that we do things that can recharge our battery and top it back up. And that's when self-care and some of these tips come in. Let's talk about how we can recharge our little battery. So first thing I'd say when trying to manage stress and avoid that burnout is like I mentioned, if you've seen my videos on anger and anxiety, it's about recognising those signs in your body. So like I said at the beginning, with stress, your body will give off a physical and a mental reaction. So it's about noticing what they are, so that we can put those little self-care strategies in place so we don't eventually go to full-on burnout mode. Another way of sort of managing stress is to make sure that we're setting firm boundaries and sticking to those boundaries, so that we're not overstretching ourselves, not overworking ourselves, and just doing sort of what we need to be doing and looking after ourselves. For more on boundaries, just have a scroll through our Facebook page. There is a video of all of our boundaries there, so you can learn a bit more. And then finally, I think it's really, really important to really make time for self-care and make time for yourself to do things that you enjoy. They're the sorts of activities that are going to recharge your battery and get you on full power again, so that you feel able to do some of these things that you find a bit stressful. I think sometimes people struggle to find the time for self-care, and if that's you, then it's important to be really making a commitment to yourself, penciling it in your diary if you have to, even if it's just sort of 5-10 minutes to begin with, and then you can build it up as you go along. But really taking time for yourself, realising that you're worth looking after yourself and worth taking the time for is really important. So yeah, self-care. I know people are sick of probably hearing the word self-care, but it is really, really important that we're looking after ourselves, especially at the minute. About stress and burnout and some tips on how to avoid getting to that stage, hopefully. Let us know if you found that useful. I hope you have. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.